Hello and welcome to Nikki and Joe Discussing Series. My name is Josiel Vasconcelos, but you can call me Joe.
And I am Nicole Camille, also known as Nikki, and we are two Brazilian advanced English students. I'm an English teacher.
And I'm an accounting student, and I'm passionate about the language.
And we have found here on this podcast a new way to have fun while we practice English.
If you love TV series just like we do, stay with us every week when we watch and talk about all the details of the episodes.
Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, Nikki Joe Podcast, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Nikki and Joe Discussing Series. Today we're gonna discuss The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, episodes 8 and 9.
The title of the episode is Someday Your Prince Will Be in Effect. This episode was directed by Jeff Melman, and the story was written by Beanie Richard Jr. and was teleplayed by Cheryl Gard and Shannon Goggin, and it was released in October 29, 1990.
So basically this episode is about Hillary organizing her Halloween party, and Will and Carlton, they bet. This is the second time that they take a bet about girls. Will says that he's gonna get a date to the Halloween party, and he says that Carlton won't. And yeah, both of them say that the other one is not gonna get a date for the party, and the entire family goes to the mall, and they all go to different places, to different stores, trying to find a costume for the party. And Will and Carlton, as they had bet that only one of them would find a date for the party, they all start hitting on girls, like random girls from the mall. They start like a race, trying to find girls. Will is at this restaurant, and he starts talking to this girl from the restaurant. And then we see some scenes of them talking to girls that they see at random stores. And then they find this girl sitting on a bench. Both of them liked her, and they started talking to her. Yeah, and Carlton starts making up a story, trying to make her convince her to go to the party with him. And he starts making up this story, portraying Will as a bad guy. And when Will says that Carlton was lying, this girl seems to be upset at Will. As Will saw that Carlton made up a story, and he thought that they were not supposed to do this, he also made up this story that was way more creative than the one that Carlton said.
That's true.
And in this story that Will created, all these guys were his friends. He mentioned them as if they all owed him a favor, but it was very out of reality. And
We got a famous baseball player, Bo Jackson, and then we see Heavy D, who was a famous rapper at that time, and who else appears as Quincy Jones, the third guy, who is also a musician, a composer, songwriter. He's a lot of things. He's still alive. And he's also the father of Radisha Jones, who coincidentally is on the show The Office that I'm watching right now. So it was really strange to see this, because when I heard his name on the show, I immediately I think I know this guy from somewhere. Is he father of that girl? Because I had, this is not important, but I had seen her Instagram and a picture of them together, like the day before. But that's the only reason why I knew the guy, but I didn't even know that he was famous. And we also see the guy who will ask him to help Quincy Jones is I'll Be Sure, who is another American singer, but I haven't heard about him, never. And also we see another rapper, Kadeen Hardison, and the last one is Malcolm, who was on a famous sitcom during the 90s, Malcolm and Eddie. And apparently these people they were really famous at that time, and you know, it was so expensive. I believe that it was really expensive to bring like five
Uh-huh.
or more people on the show for such a, you know,
A
this
random episode.
yeah, it's a very random episode that lacks writing creativity, you know.
When I saw this scene, I was wondering, like it was a new show, right? It was still on their eighth episode, and I
Mm-hmm.
wonder how they will have the
Budget.
not the budget. I wonder how they will have such a big image in that time, you know, to be able to bring all these people to a new show, you know.
Yeah.
Because usually I guess it would happen with the show that is already very famous and
But the
successful,
thing
you know,
is
and there
that
was
Will was already a bit famous when
oh yeah, Will was famous,
he.
that's true. Maybe
Yes.
that's why the show was already a maybe a success in that time, I guess.
Yes. Because he was a rapper, right? So makes sense that all these guys were there. Like, not the baseball
Mhm.
player and the actor, the other actor, but yes. So all these people who were from the music industry to be there. But I I wonder if it was like camaraderie, you know, like they went there for free because I remember that I made some research about Will Smith at that time, and he was not really wealthy anymore. He had wasted all his money and had problems with his taxes. So I wonder if they did have this money to pay for all these famous people appearances on the show, or if they kind of did it for free or in a lower price. You know, I wish I could
Like
get
for
the answer for
charity?
that. Not charity, but like friendship. You know.
No, charity would be in the sense like maybe these episodes, as they were kind of nonsense, it would be like the income of the episode could be for charity, maybe, I don't know.
It makes sense because there was an episode on Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, that they did it just because of some kind of prize that they were going to get if they did like a bad propaganda for bad advertisement for beer. And they did this episode, Beer Bad, that makes no sense. But it turned out to be funny. But yeah, and they didn't even get the money for because of the episode. They didn't get to be like the bad advertisement for like a don't drink thing, you know,
Ah,
campaign.
uh-huh.
So
Yes.
maybe that's the case.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
that's
guess
the case here.
it would make sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, and all these guys in this story that Will made up, they are supposedly his friends. He's saying like he's helping them with as if all these guys owed him a favor.
And then at the end of this whole um, moment telling stories and memories, the girl decides to go out with Carlton. She decides that Carlton is the one who she's going to be with at the Halloween party.
Yeah, but I would just like to mention that before she chose him, she said that she was gonna choose based on basic, raw, and physical attraction. And we all thought that she was going to pick Will, but actually she picked Carlton, which was a surprise.
Yeah, and then yeah, she picks him. She chooses him because of his looks and other things that the stories that they were saying, and that was a really plot twist because everyone says that Will is more handsome than Carlton. I don't really know where I stand on this. You know, I don't know who I would pick. Probably none of them. Yes, she chooses him, and Will is really surprised. And then Will is really upset about not finding a date, and then he goes back to that restaurant that they were before on the mall, and the girl, the waitress, the restaurant worker, uh, appears there, and she gives him a free pie that was made of peanut butter. Really weird food. And they talk, but we don't see him. He doesn't seem to be really interested in her.
And in the meanwhile, when we after we saw these scenes of Will and Carlton, we saw that Hillary and Ashley were at this store trying to find costumes for them, and Ashley really wanted to go to the party as a ballerina. But Hillary didn't seem to give her much attention to help her find the costume, and Hillary started just like checking on the clothes that the salesperson had separated for her, and Hillary no and Ashley started trying on this hat that she thought was interesting. She put on the hat. She started looking at the clothes, and Hillary just left her alone. She went to see the clothes, trying to find a dress for the party, and yeah, and then when they were leaving the store, Ashley had not taken back the hat, and she was still using the hat, and the security guard he thought that he accused her of shoplifting because he thought that she was gonna steal the hat, but Ashley actually didn't remember that she was wearing the hat.
Yes, and Hillary, she didn't pay for the hat before.
And then we also saw Phil. He should be looking for costumes for the party too, but he actually stopped at this gadget store, and the guy convinced him to see these electronic tools. These tools seemed very useless to me. I don't know if he had any use for Phil, but I guess he liked it.
It's funny because it's so outdated. All of the tools, yeah, and they make no sense. The thing has to makes a noise.
Like
There's a voice of a woman saying that they don't have enough pens inside of the pen station. You know, it's really funny to see that.
It's really useless. and the guy, the salesperson convinced him to check on the things on the tools, and Phil, I guess he was fascinated by the tools, and he forgot about the costume. He didn't buy any costume. He just went back home with all of those stupid tools that he didn't need. And also, last but not least, we saw Vivian. Checking on clothes. She was in her way to the store to find costume too.
Yeah.
To find a costume too, but she stopped at this guy who was, I guess he was selling some discs and like music stuff.
Yeah.
And then this guy said that she had a great voice, that she would be a great singer, and this kind of called her attention because we know that she's fascinated about singing, and she was really like she was living the moment.
Yeah, when she started singing, it was like she had become this, famous singer.
Yeah, she felt like Mariah Carey, even though she didn't. Mariah Carey wasn't a thing back then.
I think that, yeah, I think she was more like a Whitney Houston. What is the name of that other one? Tina Turner. Yes, Tina Turner.
I've heard about this one, but I guess I don't know her.
Yeah. And then everyone starts to gather to hear her singing. It was really funny because she looked like a famous singer singing there, like Tina Turner. And I really enjoyed the scene.
She's a very good singer.
Yes.
I think she was singing very...
She has a lot of attitude.
Confidence.
yes, confidence and charisma.
And then Phil went back from the gadget store and he saw Vivian singing, and he couldn't even approach her because it was full of people and they were all like rooting for her, like cheering. And yeah, and I guess that was the last scene of the mall, right?
Yes, but I would just like I would just like to mention the scene that Will and Carlton are running, looking for the girls. There's a song playing at the. There's a song playing in the background. It's a song by Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, from Will Smith actual group. It's called "Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble." And I wonder, when I went to the internet to see the song, the name of the other rapper is Jazzy. So I
Jay-Z?
wonder if, yeah, it looks like Jay-Z. If you say it, if you read the whole thing, it's Jay-Z. No,
Did Jay-Z steal his name from another guy?
or is he Jay-Z? It's Jazzy, Jay-Z Jeff, or Jazzy Jeff. So, or Jay-Z is based on him, on this guy. Like he was influenced by this guy, or this guy is really Jay-Z and the name changed. And then they are at the house. They go back to the house and they're having the Halloween party, and Will is not happy about the fact that Carlton has a date and he hasn't. And then when he see Carlton wearing his costume as a vampire, he makes another joke about him acting white, and also about his personality, that sometimes he does things that Will thinks that it's not something that a guy should do and act like, and he jokes about the fact that he's wearing lipstick for the costume. He does this joke, Carlton, white face and lipstick. Boy, you're living out all your fantasies tonight, huh? So,
Yeah.
really, this
Yeah,
stupid
this
joke.
one was very explicit.
Yes, but Carlton is awesome on the scene because he doesn't give a shit about the
Yeah, he
this
never
joke.
he never cares
He's not
about what
affected at
Will
all.
says, I guess.
Yes, that's a great aspect of his
Yeah,
personality.
that's true.
And um, and then we see Hillary talking about the party. Philip is wearing this
Comfortable guy.
is wearing his normal
The
clothes,
comfortable guy costume.
and yeah, it's the comfortable
Mhm.
man, I think.
Comfortable
is
man.
it? Guy or
Mhm.
man. And Hillary is okay because she understands that he's saying that this is the costume of the man who pays for everything. So she doesn't say a word, doesn't complain about it. And poor Ashley is wearing the Charles Chaplin costume. But she really wanted to be a ballerina, so for me it was a bit sad because her sister didn't care about her enough to get her the costume. And she talks to Jeffrey some things about the party, that are famous people there, and she uses the phrase, "The entire Brat Pack is here." And according to Wikipedia, the Brat Pack is a nickname given to a group of young actors who frequently appear together in teen-oriented series and films during the 80s. So I thought it was interesting to put that here because if I had no idea what it means. And also, she also mentions that there are two Twin Peakers which is a popular show at that time too. So it was interesting to see that, also because David Duchovny is part of the show, so it was nice to hear about it. And also we get to see that Hillary knows a lot of famous people, which is not so
It's not a.
weird. It's not weird because they live in a very rich neighborhood in California. I think they live in LA, right?
Yeah, they are. They
No,
are.
Bel Air is the name of the,
I think it's near LA.
and Bel Air is the name of the condominium.
They have a reputation in Bel Air, maybe. That's why they know a lot of
Yes.
famous people.
That's true. And there's a surprise moment when this girl appears, and she's the girl from the restaurant, the waitress, dressed up as Cinderella, and she's looking really beautiful. And I think it was interesting because they did like this contrast between her and Cinderella, because she works she do like this hard work on a restaurant. She has to clean the floors and also serve people and attend. But yeah, kind of, it's not something so beautiful like to see, because it's a bit unfortunate that before she be like all dressed up, Will didn't like think that she was attractive, and
He didn't pay attention to her before he saw that she was pretty.
yes, yeah, just because she was wearing glasses and hairnet, he didn't pay attention to her. And then I was wondering how the hell she knew exactly where the house was, because it didn't seem that they, how the hell did she knew where the house was? Was Hillary so famous that her party, the news about her party was on TV or something?
But how would she know that Hillary lives with Will? I don't know.
Oh yes, that's true.
I don't know. It was
So yeah,
crazy
it's like
scene.
a hole
It was like
on the
the guy
plot.
who directed the end of this episode was on LSD.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is his last episode here.
The director?
The direction, I don't know. Yes,
Yeah, I
the
guess
last
he
time that
was
he directs a
probably
episode.
he was probably on some drugs, I guess. He was very different.
I don't know for sure. But if you're listening to this next time, I'm gonna give you the answer in the next episode, if he continues to direct the other episode after this one or not, because it's really bad. I think that I don't even know if it's the direction or the writing, but yes, if he saw that this was happening and he let it pass, so yeah. And when she appears, she talks to Will, and Will is like really surprised that she's there, and he's really happy that she's there too.
Hmm.
But she says that that at the beginning she didn't like him. She thought that they were just a couple of macho clods. But then when he saw him by himself, kind of feeling bad about the fact that he didn't have a date, she thought that he was a sensitive guy, and because of that, she decided to go there and meet him.
Language Corner.
So she said this word, a couple of macho clods, and when they use the word macho there, they mean a guy who is aggressively proud of his masculinity. And this word clods is like an idiot, and also can be abusive. So putting the words all together, it goes like an abusive man who is aggressively proud of his masculinity. So yeah, I understand why she didn't want to go out with him in the first place. But it's funny that she said that because sometimes this is basically who he is, you know. He's trying to be this guy maybe, and at some point we know because we're seeing him for a larger point of view than the girls that sees him, but his ways with girls, since the beginning of the series, we see that it's not ideal, and it's really something bad on our nowadays standards, and we talk about it because all the time we're trying to fix that, right? So yeah, it's important to mention. And then yeah, Will is really happy about the fact that she's there, and they have like this moment together, and there's this song playing, like as if she was really Cinderella. A lot of classical music, and I think it's weird because it's a Halloween party, and it kind of make the party seems a little lame, you know.
Lame?
Don't you think so?
Because
Lame.
we was playing a classical song. Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah,
I
can
guess it
you
was just to emphasize the magic detail. I don't know if he was really playing in the house.
Yes, we don't know if it was playing or if it's like his
No,
imagination.
I don't think he was playing in the
Yeah.
house. That's why I said that the guy was on LSD, because that scene was like Will was tripping, you know.
Yes, and then it's like they are all the time playing the card that she's really. Oh my god. Wait a second. And then it's like all the time they are playing the card that she is really Cinderella, but then she's not. I think they're kind of trying to make this something like, yes, like you said, magical because it's Halloween. And then she drops her shoe at the end, and then he thinks, what? She's really Cinderella? Oh, and then she gives him her number, and then she leaves the party. So we kind of hope to see this girl again on the next episodes, and we wonder if I wonder if he's gonna call her, but I already know the answer, so I'm not gonna share it. But yeah, and apparently it's still. Oh, before the end of the party, we find out that the girl who Carlton took to the party was actually the girl who was shoplifting on the mall, and she is arrested.
On the mall or in the house?
At the end, and she was also she's the shoplifter from the mall. Because at the mall, the guy was trying to find this girl who was stealing things, and then we find out that she's a kleptomaniac, and she was also stealing things from the house, so it was something pretty ugly. And Will jokes because Carlton, it's like the only person that Carlton was able to get a date with was a person who was mentally ill, so he jokes about that. So he's always joking about Carlton's life, right? And at the end of the episode, we see that it's still early, and all people from the party has already left the house. So that's why I also said that's another point why I said the party was kind of lame.
Yeah, makes
because
sense.
Apparently it was too early because children were still trick-or-treating.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And they went there to the house, and they were trick-or-treating on the house. They went there to trick-or-treat. The kids went there to trick-or-treat, but they didn't have any more candy. And Will decided to tell a story. And he kind of tells a story that Carlton is a monster,
Yeah.
right? A murderer. And he kind of knew that Carlton was going to be walking towards the living room. And now the children are scared about this story that Will makes. So yeah, it was really, the whole episode was kind of pointless. I don't know. I did enjoy this episode. And also this part, like, would the parents sit down and read and hear Will telling the story? Because you see there are some parents with the kids. So some facts of this episode are kind of,
Nonsense.
you know, like mistakes that they did, nonsense, yeah. So yeah, that's why I didn't enjoy it much.
Yeah, I guess I also.
So
Yeah,
what do you
also,
think?
I didn't think it was that cool. But it was, I guess, this episode had some nice scenes, but nothing special.
Yes.
So that was it for today. Thank you for listening to our podcast,
And don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, Nikki Joe Podcast.
and hope to see you next week.
Bye!
Bye. See ya.